Welcome back. Now in this video, what we're going to be talking about is using your PLR as a bonus on your sales page for your product. Now you will want to use relevant PLR to act as a bonus for the product that you are marketing or that you are offering or selling. And when you do this, you want to try to find PLR with great graphics. And the reason for this is because you will want to have a graphical representation on your sales page. Again, you want people to understand and you want them to feel the weight or the impact of your bonus. The graphical representation will give your customer the ability to visualize that value. Now, possible, that graphical representation should be a 3D instead of a 2D or a flat image. The 3D image is more tangible to the viewer or to the customer that you are potentially going to get. That means that you may have to purchase some PLR before you actually need or use it. You want to have it on hand when you're ready to use it as part of the sales process. So if you want to get it ahead of time so that it'll be in inventory or that you'll have it, then you won't be paying as much for it and you will be able to put it together quickly when it's time for you to put together your own offer. Now, if you make sure to always purchase high quality content, purchasing before you have the need will help toward the content being relevant when you decide to use it. So the best way to make it useful is to make sure that you're really getting PLR that you would want to either buy yourself or definitely you take care to pass on to your customer. Now, having multiple bonuses means that you can add at least 3 to the sales page, and that's really what you should be looking to add. That tends to be the average of people who are selling information products. Now, it also means that you can add a bonus to increase the scarcity of the deal. So in other words, what you're doing is you are going to tell the buyer that the only way they're going to get a specific bonus is if they purchase it before that bonus runs out or before the time runs out. So you are using both scarcity and urgency to your advantage. Now, as the buyer makes their way through the sales process, you want the bonus to help them see the value in what you are offering in total. That value should be clear when they see the graphics as well as how you describe those graphics. Now, when you offer irrelevant and over-the-top bonuses, what you're really doing is devaluing your product, sometimes without even knowing it. Now, most marketers will consider at least one, but some will commit to at least 3 bonuses. Now, one way to add more than 3 bonuses would be to make one or some of those bonuses time sensitive. These are typically called fast action bonuses. Now, if you're going to market them that way, make sure that they'll be easy to remove from your site quickly and easily during your product launch. Now, we've been saying that if you're going to use a bonus, you want to make sure that they have graphical images and if you can, 3D images. But you can use a bonus that does not have a graphical image that comes in the package with it. However, you do want to then expend the resources in order to have 3D images created. And you can have those created typically at a website like Fiverr or Scriptlance or Elance. You want to make sure those images reflect exactly what the buyer is going to be getting. Now, lastly, you can display graphics by re-imaging all of the PLR and making it similar to your product branding. So in other words, you're going to take the graphical images that are there. You're not going to use the packaging that came in the PLR. You're going to make all of the bonuses very similar to the 3D images that maybe you have for your product. In other words, everything's going to look extremely branded and extremely similar on your sales page. You want to make sure when you do that your buyers know that they do not reflect on what you're doing with your business. So in other words, the bonuses may not necessarily be at the same level of quality that your product is going to be. You want to make sure that your buyer understands that yes, these are bonuses and that these are additions. They're not necessarily your product. So if you're going to go that route of branding them the same way, make sure that the buyer understands still that these are bonuses and these are not your product. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using PLR to create a local offline workshop. Now, when you purchase PLR, you typically get the content at a wholesale or a distributor price. However, the question is, how will you get people to buy at the real price or the real value of the content that you have, at the $47 or $97 level or even more? And one of the best ways to accomplish this is to use your PLR content to create a keynote or a workshop. Now, in this case, what you're doing is you're relying on the PLR to fill gaps in your knowledge of the subject matter. You're also relying on the PLR to give you a head start in creating the presentation materials for your workshop or your talk. The reason this is important is that you want to spend the bulk of your time marketing your workshop. Now, there are several aspects of a workshop where your PLR is going to be useful to you. Now, first, what you're going to want to do is to have your content to use as a lead magnet for people to join your email marketing list. You're going to make it available to people in order to be the solution to their problem. And because they want to solve their problem, they're going to want to get your lead magnet so they'll opt into your list. The second thing you'll want to do is to have pre-workshop content to engage people while they wait for your workshop. Now, this is a great use of PLR so that you can stay focused on marketing. In other words, you're going to give your users, you're going to give the people who are going to be interested in the subject matter of the workshop something to do, something to think about, maybe a case study that they can apply, or something that they can be working through in their own life or in their own business, whatever your niche is, so that they are engaged with you. They are engaged and getting excited about the workshop, and you can use PLR for that. Now, third, you can always use written content for any of the actual workshop presentation. And basically, what that's going to mean is that you are going to be able to give your attendees the opportunity to engage with your content. You're going to be able to give your workshop attendees the opportunity to follow you. They're going to either have a document, maybe a PDF, or they're going to have something written in their hands. And basically what this is going to mean is that you are going to be converting your content, whether it's from audio or video or text, into your presentation software. In other words, you're going to be distilling everything down into a PowerPoint presentation that you're going to be not only showing people, but you're going to give them a copy of while they're at the actual presentation. Of course, you can give them a word processing document also. Now, fourth, you will be able to use the PLR for any example video that you want to show while you're in the workshop. That works particularly well are hands-on or technical videos that explain processes. Now, when you're presenting, you will at times need a break from what you're talking about. So in other words, people can't process a lot of ideas or new information. They need a break in the routine so that they will be able to catch up with you and really almost exhale to get the information that you're trying to present to them. And being able to show them a video is a good way to keep that content moving and to keep the people engaged. Now, you can also use checklists that you get in PLR or mind maps. These are great giveaways as a reminder of your presentation, whether you give them out ahead of time, but definitely afterward. So you've already done the presentation, you've gone through several steps, and maybe it's going to be difficult for the people to remember what it is that you talked about. Well, this is why you give them a checklist on the way out the door, or you email them a checklist that reminds them of your presentation so that they can get a sense for what it is that you talked about and they have it clear in their minds, and then they have you at the top of their mind when you get ready to make an offer. Now, if you brand these PLR checklists and the mind maps, what's going to happen is they're going to be able then to share them with other people when they're excited about them. So if you've given good content during your workshop, you're going to have this branded PDF or this branded sheet of paper, and people are going to be able to share it with other people who may be having the same problem or who may be trying to accomplish the same goal, and they will then be exposed to your brand. Now, what you want to do is to re-image as many of the graphics as you can fit into your audience. And so what that means is that you want to get graphics that are made for the business opportunity niche. So you want to make sure that your graphics frame the overall presentation and even frame the goals of people who are going to be interested in your particular topic or your particular niche. Now, a great way to add value after the workshop is to be able to provide post-workshop content. Now, this you can use PLR for, especially because you're going to be giving this to your attendees, again, as a reminder of what it is you talked about and to continue to give them value and to seed them and get them ready to make a purchase from you. You can also use your PLR as webinar content for those who are unable to attend your workshop live. So maybe they could not attend and get the benefit of what you were presenting. You can certainly do the same presentation, but you can add additional benefits to the online session to keep people engaged in that medium. Now, this means that you'll primarily be using PowerPoint and PDFs to distribute while you speak on the webinar. And most importantly, you can use that PLR to create an offer for the product you're going to be selling after your webinar. So you're going to get these people onto a webinar where you're going to give them mostly content. You're going to give them good information. You're going to show them how to solve some of the problem, but then you are going to be moving them toward making an offer. Now, in some cases, you can purchase an entire solution in PLR, including the front end, the back end product, and everything you're going to need in order to do the presentation and make an offer. Now, of course, it's perfectly acceptable to piece the whole thing together. You can get the offers from one place, you can get the content from another place, as long as it's relevant to the people who are going to be attending and that the offers are going to be enticing to them and really help them and give them value. And all of this is going to be very easy to do inside of any of the affiliate platforms like JVZoo, Warrior Plus, ClickBank, or Zaxa. Now, all the same content can typically be used in the same context for small businesses if the graphics reflect what they'd be comfortable seeing. So you want to make sure that your graphics frame the presentation and frame the offer for small businesses, not necessarily for people who are in the business opportunity niche. And when you use PLR for your workshop, make sure to keep in mind the structure of your workshop. So that means that you're going to want to present part of the content and sell another part. So you've got a piece of PLR or you've got some content pieces. You want to look at that content in terms of which part are you going to present and which part is going to be the offer. Typically what you want to do is you want to tell them what to do in your presentation and then show them how to do it in your offer. That's an easy way to think of the break between how you structure the content or how you divvy it out to put in both offer and presentation. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using your PLR to create email and autoresponder content. One of the best ways to use your PLR content is to provide content for your subscribers in your autoresponder. Internet marketers typically send emails out to their subscribers on a daily basis. But it can be difficult to sit down and write something that teaches something substantive every single day. You can easily use written PLR to create a series and spread it out over days while giving your buyer a call to action at the end. Of course, you can also use video content to deliver lessons to your subscribers by loading the content into YouTube and providing a link afterward. You can do the same with audio content, providing a link for a number of days to some helpful content. Now, if you'd rather personalize all of your content that you're putting inside of your email, you're still not having to research the idea if you remake the audio, video, or the writing. Now, this is something that you can repeat throughout the year when you'd rather not create the content that goes in your email or you decide to take time off. Now, the idea with autoresponder content is to keep your subscribers engaged until they're moved to become buyers. Of course, you'll always need to find that balance between evergreen content and the things that people new to your list won't grow bored with. And bringing new content to your autoresponder is vital to keeping people engaged and to keep them opening your emails so that when they do get your offers, not only will they see them, they'll be receptive to receiving them and open to clicking on them so that they can buy. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing how to use PLR as your webinar content. Now, a great way to use PLR content is to repurpose it as content you're going to be sharing in your webinars. Now, in some cases, depending on what kind of package you buy, you'll have slides already created for you. Now, you can use those slides as your guide to teach on the subject that you're going to be doing on your webinar. Now, in many cases, you will be using the information that you pick up from the PLR to learn the content well enough to teach it on the webinar. Now, this will be important because you want to have the webinar positioning that makes you sound like an expert. Now, one other interesting thing that you can do is to take PLR videos, splice them together into 1 hour of content for an automated or recorded webinar. Now, in another sense, since part of what you'll be doing is to rebrand any of the graphics that you get, don't be afraid to use them to make your slide presentation attractive for your webinar. Now, this is easily accomplished by using your graphics as a background image, faded enough for people to clearly read your message. Now, one of the things that keeps marketers from doing their own webinar is not knowing exactly what to say. Now, most of the time, this is due to feeling less than confident about the content they're presenting. Now, on a webinar, what's most important is the presentation that people are going to be seeing on their screen. It should not look like information that they want to read. Instead, the information should be used as a guide for the audience to follow the presentation. So in other words, it shouldn't look like a word processing document. Now, some webinar creators use a script, which is a good use for some forms of PLR naturally. Other webinar creators speak extemporaneously without a script, where those presentation slides will be guiding the audience. Now, if you choose to do your webinar in this way, speaking extemporaneous, you will use your PLR to learn your subject matter. You can then use multiple PLR products on the same topic, and in this case, you will be producing something original. In fact, depending on the rights of your PLR, you can easily sell or use your presentation as part of a future information product. The webinars do require that you break up your audience attention with relevant graphics. Now, if you choose to use graphics of any kind in your webinar presentation, make sure that it doesn't overpower the information you're sharing. Now, if you want to use graphics to theme your content, you can again take them and create an opaque background or a very light background on your presentation slides. One other thing webinar hosts do to keep people engaged to the end is to promise them a free gift. And this is a great use for a PLR product component. Now, you can do the same thing on a webinar to actually get people to attend. You can promise them a free piece of content or something free. Now, if your goal is to sell a particular PLR product as a result of your presentation, you want to give good content while avoiding telling your audience everything they need to know. Your audience's attention span is probably going to be about 20 minutes long at the maximum. Of course, as we talked about in another video, a good way to think about how to organize your content should follow a recognizable pattern. Now, in your webinar, you want to answer the questions why and what to do. Now, in the front-end offer, you should be selling them a product where you'll answer the question what to do in a lot more detail. And then in the back-end offer that you sell them, you want to answer the question, how should I do this? If you choose this framework, you'll want to organize your content along these lines. That means that your webinar, if designed to sell, should use the PLR content telling them why the topic is important for them to consider. It should then use the PLR telling them what's possible if they learn the content or implement the method that you are teaching. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using your PLR to create a membership site. Now, one of the ways that you can leverage PLR is by using it to create a stream of income that's recurring, or in other words, your buyers are going to be paying you on a monthly basis for access to the content you're providing. Now, that means that you're creating what's typically called a membership site. Now, there are two primary uses for PLR in your membership. The first, you're going to want to make sure that when your customers walk in the doors or when they first land on your membership site, they see everything they need to succeed. Now, on the one hand, that means that everything you promised them, everything you said in your sales letter, all of that's going to be inside of the membership when they first log in. On the other hand, it means that you're going to have any reference content or tools that'll help them get the most out of that content. And of course, that means that you can purchase that reference content as PLR and have it in your membership when your users get there. So they won't have to worry about knowing HTML, or they won't have to worry about learning WordPress, or they won't have to worry about the technical things that could hold them back from implementing your solution. You have already given that to them through the provision of PLR. Now, the second use for PLR in your membership is to provide unannounced bonuses to your members. And this is a very good way for you to give your customer that added benefit of being in a membership with you. Now, unannounced bonuses allow you to reward your members. It makes it painful for them to cancel. Of course, the most important use for PLR is to provide membership content. Or in other words, you want to make sure you're doing what you promised in your sales letter. That's always going to be first and foremost. But one of the things that you can do is to always make sure you are supplementing that, giving your buyer more than they ask for, over-delivering every single month. Now, if you're an expert in the topic area and you don't have time to create all the content that you promised them, well, you can use PLR to provide some of that content, or to give you that added boost, or to give you something else cutting edge that you can build on to give them that content that you promised them. If you are not an expert in the topic area, you can certainly use PLR to help you with what would be hard for you to create. It would be hard for you, again, to do the research. It would be hard for you to go and learn something when you've got to produce month after month and you've got your other responsibilities in terms of running your business. You will be able to use PLR and leverage it to give your buyers that content. Now, memberships content can be a regular video, it can be an email, or it can be an ebook. It can be any form of content that you put in your sales letter or that will satisfy the need or solve the problem that your members join your membership to solve. Now, you'll want to use the graphics to add some professionalism to the look of your membership area, as well as what you give to the customer in your membership. And of course, all of those are things that you can get through private label rights or resale rights. Now, as we close out this video, one of the things you want to keep in mind is that the average membership site's tenure is going to be 3.5 months. That means that after 3.5 months, people generally start to feel as if they've gotten everything they're going to get out of a membership. Now, that means that you should be providing some kind of extra bump to them on a regular basis. And you can and should use PLR to upgrade your membership. Now, this is different from the unannounced bonus. This is really giving your customer more than they paid for, additional sessions, additional things that they can use, something that they can use in the topic area that you promised them. Again, you should always be bumping up the value so that your buyer sees more and more value from you, and again, making it painful for them to unsubscribe from your membership. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.